I wanted to kick off with a topic that I'm incredibly passionate about, and this is women helping each other both within the workplace but then also within their personal lives, and not seeing each other as competitive threats. It's interesting, I sat down with a psychologist recently to explore this, and she specialises in human interaction within the workplace. And she talked about the basic human instinct. When there's scarcity of resources, we tend to be more competitive. And that manifests in sabotaging ourselves or other people, both consciously and unconsciously. And I've seen this sort of play out in my work life, but then also in my personal life. I see, moving to New York where there's, a scarcity of resources being men, there's a lot more females. How have you seen that manifest within your own life? Are there particular women that have held you back or tried to sabotage you?
It is interesting how women are by nature nurturers, and even so don't necessarily always help each other. It's making me think back to when I was really young and just out of uni, and for the first time working in the music business in Brisbane and then in Sydney, Australia. And I was so filled with fear, and I was just such an anxious person. I had confidence, but I was also a very anxious person. And I think about some of the women I came into contact with in the jingle singing recording studio scene, and there was such an uneasiness between the older or the more experienced women and the new girl or the new girls.
Yes.
But I was, at 18, 19, 20 years of age, I was trying to work everything out. I didn't feel like I had any footing. So I would not necessarily say I felt like somebody took me under their wing during those years. And it's interesting, again, it's an interesting question, because there are two producers, studio owners who I can identify, male, who were extraordinarily helpful and pivotal in my success.
So on the women's side, how did you overcome that issue? So were you aware of that?
Totally aware of that. It was so
obvious
and ever present.
Yes.
That I was the new young girl and they were more experienced. And there were elements of humanity and sometimes, making me feel welcome. But the general vibe was, you're the new girl.
I don't want to help you too much because you might take my job.
And that's a tricky thing, because there is that scarcity aspect. Then later when I moved to Sydney, again in the recording industry jingle side of things, in fact I think I experienced it more harshly there than I did in Brisbane, and it was perplexing to me because I was 21 years of age, and I didn't know how it worked.
Yes.
So I was just working it out as I went. And I have to say, fast forward to my life now, I have an exceptional network of women. And it's interesting because when I meet somebody, I'm looking for, do you want to play?
Yes.
Are you one of us? Are you like me? Do you want to do that? Because I think back then too, I thought, well, if you help somebody, they help you. Or somebody helps you, you owe them. There was very much that feeling and attitude for myself. That's just what I made up is how it worked. Now, 20 years later, I have a completely different approach. And that is, if I can do something to help you, I have zero expectation of you helping me. Really, I'm not even just saying that to seem like a saint or anything like that. I really do believe that if I can connect you with someone and that furthers what you're up to and what they're up to, that's it.